Even on a 36 tooth, this thing just flies up hills. In this week's video, we'll be unboxing, inspecting, and reinstalling our replacement Phantom 85. Because I know a lot of my viewers are still waiting for the replacement motors, and I don't want to go on just another boring break-in ride. We're going to take this out into the country on an adventure trip to put as many miles on it as we can, as fast as possible. We're also going to take it out camping. By the end of this video, within 2 days, we'll have 100 miles on this motor, where we'll pull the jug and inspect it to see how it's holding up. If there are any issues that are going to pop up, it's our main goal to find them as fast as possible. This means I'll be treating this motor the same as I would with any other motor during break-in. I won't abuse it, but I'm not going to put it in a cradle. Welcome back, motorized bike enthusiast. Whether you're into the riding aspect or the technical side of these videos, I think you'll enjoy today's. Not only do we inspect the motor before and after 100 miles, we take it on what has to be the most beautiful ride I've ever seen on one of these bikes. We got our 360 camera back from the shop, and boy do we put it to work. For returning viewers who have been following the Performance and Portwork series, don't worry, that's still going on in the background. We're collecting footage and data, trying a whole bunch of different things. We've got carburetors, we got reeds, we got ignition systems, and we're doing more aggressive porting. Each day is a little better, and that motor, at the moment when we took it off the bike, was running absolutely perfect. With one small exception. But you'll just have to wait for that. Anyways, I've had way too many requests for the Phantom 85 update, so I gotta give you guys what you want to see, and here it is. And one last thing before we jump off the Firestorm, I'd like to give a shout out to Tan Boy Industries for selling us his real MZ65. Yes, at last, we finally have one on the channel, and we'll have some test data for you guys on the Firestorm 4040 once we're done with the Phantom. This actually couldn't have come at a better time because just like the WC80 from California Motorbikes, the Deluxe pipe from Bikeberry has sprung a leak. These pipes simply cannot handle the brap. When our first Phantom 85 took a dive, I sent an email to Bicycle Engines explaining the situation. They asked to see some pictures of the damage so they could decide what would be the best course of action. We had quite severe damage with a broken piston, a burnt out bushing, damage to the head, and some light damage to the exhaust port. And they decided just to send us an entire replacement engine minus the extra hardware in the kit, which is completely fine with me. I didn't really have any details about what they would be overhauling in their replacement motors, but I did suspect that the only changes made would be to the bushing. And that appears to be the case. Once again, like with the original motor, I didn't bother to break apart the entire bottom end of this kit. I just didn't see that to be necessary, and it's not practical for every builder to do that. However, it is practical for pretty much every builder to take the jug off and make sure everything looks decent, and that's what we did. A few other issues that have been brought up in the Discord server and in the comment sections were people explaining that they had issues with ring snagging, especially around the intake port, and pistons breaking. And I noticed that I both had a broken piston and a snagged piston ring, but mine was on the exhaust port. I didn't have any issues with my original motor snagging a ring on the intake port. The issue explained by some builders is that the ring ends are too close to the intake port. After measuring them, they are close, but they do appear to have about 3 to 4 millimeters of clearance, and I think in normal operating conditions this should be fine. But I don't build two-strokes, so I don't know if that's the case. In my personal opinion, this is what I believe was happening. Now, only time and miles will tell if this indeed was the cause of the other issues in these kits, along with the combined experience from other builders. But I think as the bushing was wearing out in the older kits, it was allowing the piston to rotate in the jug just enough to cause the ring gaps to catch the intake port. And obviously when that happens, it's a catastrophic failure that might draw your attention completely away from the bushing itself. Also, having the piston rattle around excessively inside the jug could cause it to break in any number of places. That's just my opinion, and hopefully that's the cause of the other issues. We'll find out. Although I was able to easily remove the new bushing, it didn't appear to have any play between the con rod and the wrist pin. I think builders were saying that they used bronze in their original bushing, which is just not good for this situation. I don't know, but this appears to be brass, and it still does have the graphite injection. I'll leave that up to you guys to decide whether it's good or bad, but like I said, we'll know soon enough. One peculiar thing I did notice is one side of the bushing appears to have a bevel. I don't know what the purpose of this would be and why it's only on one side. I'm just going to assume they know what they're doing. And of course, we didn't get away from the unescapable. I re-examined the seals on the crank and, sure enough, shaved rubber. I wonder if they'll ever get this right. There's only one other thing I'd like to point out about this replacement motor, but it's kind of a big deal. 3 of the 4 acorn nuts did not seal the jug. The lock washers were not even compressed. I don't know if they used longer studs on this one, or if they're just not screwed in all the way. But I had to add 3 washers to each of the studs just to ensure that the acorn nuts were not bottoming out. A safe way to get around this is just to replace them with something else. A lot of builders don't like to use these acorns, but it's what we got, so it's what we use. Just keep that in mind. If you didn't check this and seal the jug, the motor probably would have not even started. If it did, it certainly would have had pretty poor performance. So with those few issues taken care of and the motor mounted back on the F-Zero, we'll go ahead and take it out camping and on some adventure rides. I think you guys are going to enjoy this, but when we're all done, we're going to bring it back, open it up, and see how well it handled the trips. For those of you who are curious, I'll be using a break-in mix of 32:1 VP full synthetic. Normally I add a little bit more oil for my break-in mixes, but this is a ceramic line cylinder with thinner piston rings. I don't think that much oil is necessary. 32:1 should be fine, and I'll eventually move it up to 40:1. For those of you with good ears, you're correct. That's a rough-sounding rattle, and this was driving me crazy for the first 2 days, which I couldn't even figure out until I was at the campsite examining the bike closely. At first I thought it was running too rich, or the timing was off, but it was the simplest of stupid things, my own fault, a poor front motor mount. I had to get creative with the spacing on the front motor mount because this F-Zero has a ridiculously large chainring, and I didn't use the CNC front motor mount, which I should have used from the original motor. So it's my fault, but we'll move on. The motor's running fine. Good, off to a good start there. First time the chains come off. Got a lot of vibration. We're going to check the motor mounts once we get to the campsite. Yeah, this vibration has got to be from that motor mount. It doesn't sound like a motor issue. It sounds like a bad mounting issue. So I screwed it up, and I'm pretty sure it's that front motor mount. I'll explain why when we get to the campsite, but I'm not going to be able to fix it until I get back home after camping. So we're just going to take it easy on the bike. The worst thing you want to do on an aluminum frame is add excess vibrations under load. So, I'm definitely not increasing the lifespan of this frame by riding this camping with this problem. Oh, there's actually people here today. There's usually never people here. Well, let's go find the girl. Girl and the dog. They're busy today.
It's hunting season, baby.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize it until I pulled up. I said, oh shit, hunters.
I got Dietz lanterns. Well, no wine, so my step 2 is a big red. Sorry, Steve.
You can go burn yourself on that muffler.
No, it's cold by now.
Oh, okay.
Everything's cold. He likes the bike because it's familiar. When I'm in the room, he's always trying to get through the spokes. Alright, so our problem arose from the chainring. Chainring's too big, motor rubs. I had issues using that big CNC universal adapter. It worked, but the the muffler was pushed right up against the frame, so I decided to go down to the universal mounts. The problem is, one of them isn't tall enough, 2 of them isn't tall enough to clear the chain. So I figured some rubber spacers, tighten it down real good, see how it handles. Now the back is fine. I don't see any cracks in the frame that could be causing this kind of vibration. So I'm assuming the vibration is coming from right here. This rubber is just making it worse. I didn't put this on here for vibration dampening. I just needed space. And I think that is where my vibration is coming from. So we'll try and fix that tomorrow and see if it's any better. I'll just put on another 2 or 3 plates if I have to. Alright, we'll get the fire kicked into gear here in a little bit. Take old Henry for a walk. We got our Centronella lanterns burning. Keep the last of the mosquitoes at bay. Even got one hanging off the bike. Because hell, why not?
Yummy!
Let me get a hot dog.
Yummy!
Oh my god, look at it, look at it. I thought that was a damn spider.
Ah, we taking it home.
Somebody's Halloween decoration.
Go, Henry, scarf that.
Oh, you already gave it to him? I wasn't even
He took it out of my hand.
Alright, so we got us some Swiss mix. Nice hot water. That's probably good. Now I was gonna mix in some Insta coffee for my own little custom camping mocha, but somebody forgot the coffee and the wine.
That would be you.
Oh, okay. I forgot the coffee and the wine. Can't forget marshmallows. We got a treat. Oh, I'm gonna get that treat. I'm gonna get that treat. Oh, I'm gonna get that treat. He's a good boy. That is not gonna work. You're gonna end up with one dirty hot dog. We got our treats. Henry got his treat. And the cat is just doing his thing.
I'm cheating. You probably hears people at that next campsite.
Yeah. Alright, well, that's going to do it for tonight. We'll see you guys in the morning. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy some hot apple cider. Take the dog for another walk around the campsite in the dark, listening to the trees. It's really pleasant right now. The temperature is perfect, and we got this constant breeze just blowing the trees around. It sounds amazing. Alright, we'll see you guys in the morning. Ready? Other than our vibration issue, an out-of-tune carburetor, and a little bit of a high idle, the motor's doing just fine. After a near-perfect weekend of riding, we bring the bike home and take the jug off to examine the internals. Just over 100 miles is only a drop in the bucket compared to what this motor's going to see over the next month, but we'll do our best to keep an eye on it. After pulling the jug, I didn't see any issues. Nothing obvious, at least. The bushing seems fine, the cylinder walls seem fine, and the piston looks good. No signs of ring snag or any excessive wear. I decided to go back to the CNC front motor mount simply because it was the easiest and fastest way to fix the vibration issue. I ran out of time for this week's video, but it'll be in next week's. My days of jerry-rigging everything are over with, so I didn't want to mess with the universal adapter plates any more than I had to. I know a lot of you guys enjoy just the raw ride footage, so later during the week I'll be sure to upload a short little cruise for you after we get the carburetor dialed in and retard the timing just a little bit. This one's running smoother than the other one was out of the box, but that's probably because we jumped straight to the G2 read with the PZ20 carburetor. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's adventure, and until next time, ride safe.